of the real underscore G1 on Twitter, going through the soccer slate. It is Friday afternoon here in the US and it is lunchtime. But I'm spending it with you instead of my daily run to Whole Foods. Also wearing the shirt where I got pegged with a cigarette after Betis conceded a goal because everyone thought I was from Germany rooting for Leverkusen. But anyway, that was a long time ago. Now that hopefully everyone has come in, or you're watching this on tape. Kids don't even know what tape is, but regardless, I'm going to go quickly through the top 5 European leagues, starting with the EPL. So Manchester United are giving a full goal right now to Southampton. Southampton with a dominant performance midweek at Tottenham. Going to be tough to see if they can repeat that 2 times in a row. This is Saturday morning's early match. But I got to say, Manchester United just continues to disappoint, allowing Burnley to score. Big surprise. Not really being able to do anything of note. Cristiano Ronaldo looking like the age is catching up to him. Pretty interested in Southampton catching that full goal. Their offense looked great against Tottenham. I don't think that Manchester United's defense is much different. Maybe a little bit better. They're not relying on Davinson Sanchez, but ultimately getting a full goal, considering what they did in midweek, might be hard to repeat, but definitely on the better run of form, especially coming off a victory. Brentford then hosting Crystal Palace. Currently Brentford pick 'em with all the juice right now. All lines courtesy of Bet Online, and this is my first look because work's been killing me this week. Palace with a pretty poor performance midweek against Norwich, falling behind really early for earliest, quickest goal in Premier League this season from a team that can't score. They are a team that is not looking great, especially as a road favorite, but ultimately could have won the match if Wilfried Zaha didn't trip or slip when he was trying to kick a penalty late to take a 2-1 lead. Brentford, on the other hand, look like a relegation team right now and how they've been playing. Got off to a really good start to the season, and that might keep them up, especially because the rest of the league has done so poorly. But I think there's some pressure building on Brentford. Tony was hurt and missed midweek. I'm not sure that a couple days later he'll be able to play. So that's a concern on an offense that was already pretty bad so far this season. And especially recently. And Bomo didn't start. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. Maybe they weren't saving some bullets because they were facing Man City on the road, but still not a great sign. I will say Brentford's in such bad form, goal scoring form, that if Crystal Palace moves to an underdog and actually catches a quarter, they'll probably be on my card, but I won't love it. Everton then hosting Leeds, currently giving a quarter of a goal. With all the juice on Leeds on the road. Leeds with a great performance midweek, really showed an offensive touch that they haven't shown in a while. Dan James getting on the score sheet and causing a lot of havoc is news to me in the middle of the park. Everton couldn't follow up a good cup victory against Brentford, who are reeling. So maybe that was a little bit, shouldn't have read it to that performance as much under Frank Lampard, who will help, but I'm not sure how much he'll help. And so that's a concern. And ultimately Leeds are playing better and look like an underdog that aren't in a relegation fight like Everton is right now. Leeds are close, but I don't think they're as drawn into it. So that road underdog is interesting to me. Watford then hosting Brighton, getting half of a goal at home with all the juice on Watford. I thought Watford outplayed West Ham, and of course, a crazy deflection ended up yielding the only goal of the match for West Ham. And I'm a little surprised to see Brighton getting this type of respect on the road because they haven't really done much offensively for a long time. Didn't have to play midweek, so that's very helpful. Watford is maybe getting Sarr back from injury. I'm not sure, maybe just as a substitute. But ultimately, Watford under Roy Hodgson has done a really good job of showing a defensive mettle that they didn't show under any of the other managers for seasons, it feels like. They did some good business bringing Kamara, who's great on left back, I think. And then Samir has been good in the center back role as well. So I'm pretty interested in Watford, though this one looks like it's trending down to a quarter of a goal, and that makes me less interested because I'd want to win a full unit if they're able to draw at home. Norwich then hosting Man City in what might be the massacre of the weekend. Norwich getting 2.25 goals at home. Pretty big number, but just not really interested in getting in the way of Man City, especially after a 2-0 victory in midweek wasn't enough to cover. I don't think Norwich scores, so it's really all about, can Norwich keep Man City off the board, and then if they can, for how long, until they concede the second and third and fourth and maybe more than that. I don't think Man City are the Bayern of Premier League. And I feel like the big numbers are worth looking against. I just don't know that Norwich has any chance to keep Man City from scoring too much and from scoring themselves. Moving to Sunday, Burnley hosting Liverpool. Burnley at 1 3/4 goal underdog. It's not looking good for them. They got a lot of matches to make up. Mo Salah, Mane, everyone coming back in. Liverpool getting stronger and stronger on their title race. Easy for me to say. Burnley has had success against Liverpool as well, so I feel like this match will not be taken lightly. And I just don't know. Burnley's offense, Wout Weghorst, doesn't seem to be doing much or will do much in that team. I don't know what to really say about Burnley besides just if you're backing them, relying on their defense to keep Liverpool quiet offensively, and that's a tall task. Newcastle then hosting Aston Villa. Pick 'em right now with most of the juice on Aston Villa on the road. Don't really like Newcastle. Was concerned with Aston Villa's defense this week. Midweek against Leeds. I don't know if that's just getting into a crazy game with Leeds that can happen, but it was pretty disappointing. And Coutinho getting injured does not seem like a good sign because he's been a light bringer to that side. I just don't believe in Newcastle being really any good. Coming off a win against Everton, I was maybe hoping that market would overreact. It doesn't look like that's happening yet. Not a lot for me to do at Pick'em. Tottenham, a 3/4 goal favorite at home against Wolves, off a pretty poor performance where they really got controlled the entire time, despite being at home and despite playing mid-table Southampton when Tottenham are trying to get in Champions League. Wolves with a good performance had one kind of poor, I don't know, garbage goal a little bit, like bundled in by Arsenal. And then we're on the front foot, nearly scored a million times. Fabio Silva not taking a shot and trying to cross the ball to an Arsenal defender late was really not a great decision. I just don't see Tottenham. I know that they do well against the inferior clubs, and Wolves certainly aren't great. But Wolves, I know, are going to bring a defensive medal and are going to play really great defense. And that's going to make Tottenham's 2-goal victory less likely than a single goal victory. And they need to beat you by 2 to take a full unit. So Wolves were a tough loss yesterday. I think they deserved a lot more than a 1-0 loss. But I'm continuing to want to back that defense. Next and last but not least is Leicester hosting West Ham. Currently, Leicester a 1/4 goal underdog at home with all the juice. I mean, West Ham, if they're going to continue to get these luck box wins, I mean, when is it going to stop? But they're not a good offense. The Leicester defense is pretty the opposite of impregnable, so I guess pregnable. And so that's not a great sign for Leicester. And they've had a lot of problems this year, but I just think West Ham as a road favorite against teams with any sort of pulse just doesn't seem to be a great bet. And so I'd want to be on the other side. Moving to La Liga. So Elche today are visiting Sevilla. Sevilla 1 1/4 goal favorites. Elche has been playing great. Sevilla have been really struggling. They brought in some new players, but they haven't gelled. Didn't do anything offensively. And then Rakitic missed a penalty in stoppage time in their last match. So I'm very interested in backing Elche today, assuming that the entire squad didn't get COVID. Even if this falls to 1, I'm still very interested. Moving to Saturday, Cadiz hosting Celta de Vigo. Cadiz a 1/2 goal underdog at home with all the juice. Cadiz with a pretty tough result last weekend. 2 penalties conceded. Both were questionable at best, but La Liga refs continue to just spank me every time I'm involved, and I'm not really into that type of spanking. I know you're thinking that. Anyway, Celta de Vigo have been playing well. Iago Aspas is so scary, and they'll be on the front foot with a lot of possession, though Sergio Gonzalez is taking care of the ball a lot more than his predecessor, Alvaro Severa. I think at a 1/2 goal, I'm interested in Cadiz, but it's so juiced right now. It probably falls to a 1/4. And I just don't love the idea of needing Cadiz to win in order to get any sort of money. And Celta de Vigo can score goals. Cadiz, I'm not sure that they can. Villarreal then hosting Real Madrid. Pick 'em right now. Villarreal with most of the juice, which is surprising, but also saying something because Real Madrid are ahead in the league by a lot. They have a big Champions League match coming up against Paris Saint-Germain midweek, and doesn't look like Benzema was going to be available for that matchup. I don't know. It's questionable he's available for PSG, so he might be skipping this one as well. And that's what that line says to me. Villarreal with a pretty consistent, good performance, winning at Betis. They'll maybe taking advantage of some tired legs. And I think Villarreal are on the upward trajectory, playing a lot better, finally got some health, though I think Gerard Moreno's probably going to miss this one as well. I don't know. Real Madrid, if they move to an underdog against Villarreal, it's pretty interesting, though they have not looked good without Benzema and are basically living off of limited chances, but still running away with the league right now. Rayo Vallecano then hosting Osasuna, currently Rayo a quarter goal favorite at home with most of the juice. And coming off Copa del Rey midweek, which didn't go well for them despite taking an early lead. They're starting to really, I think, struggle. And Casey Keller was even talking about in the American broadcast that they might be looking over their shoulder towards relegation. I don't know that they're that close because they were in a Champions League spot not too long ago. But Osasuna, not a great team, had a huge penalty save at the end. The Rakitic's penalty was not very good for Sevilla last weekend. Osasuna's been better on the road. Their goal scoring has not been great. Rayo wants to sit back and counter you, which to me doesn't sound great as a favorite, especially at home, especially after a midweek match they're not really used to. So rest advantage should be to Osasuna, and we'll see where this one goes. But if this hits a half, I think I'll be playing Osasuna. I'd still like it at a quarter. Atleti then hosting Getafe, currently giving a goal and a quarter off of a really poor performance, despite going ahead at Barcelona. Getafe have done a great job not giving up goals. I think beat Atleti earlier this season. That might have been Alaves. Anyway, Getafe, their new manager, has been really good at not conceding. Their goal scoring is not great, but Enes Unal has been pretty hot, and Atleti are a mess and have to win by more than a goal right now on the current line. Maybe this falls to full +1, but that's still enough insurance for me to probably play. Alaves then hosting Valencia. Currently, Alaves pick them at home with all the juice on Valencia on the road. Valencia just played midweek in Copa del Rey, so that might zap some legs a little bit. Alaves, on the other hand, haven't really done much. Jose Lu got taken off early and was losing his mind on the sideline. Don't really know that Jose Luis Mendilibar is going to be at Alaves for a while, but they brought him in to try to get points. And if they're going to try to be on the front foot, that's scary. But I think they're still going to be a less possession team that plays with a high line, which is dangerous. So it makes sense that Valencia are catching more money at the moment. Levante then hosting Betis. Betis coming off a big win midweek in Copa del Rey. Levante a half a goal favorite. Levante is a half a goal underdog at home with all the juice, so it might be climbing or might be falling to a quarter. I'm just really screwing this one up. So Levante is probably going to close a quarter to Betis unless people realize that Levante are the by far bottom of La Liga and have not been able to defend whatsoever. So I just don't know that I can back them, and we can finally leave this game in the past. Real Sociedad then hosting Granada, giving a goal and a quarter. Granada's been getting some big lines lately, and I don't really understand why. They have been playing fine. We're really competitive with Real Madrid. Probably arguments could be made they should have taken a lead and maybe drawn, or wouldn't be shocking to have them have won that match. Real Sociedad have not been playing well. Pretty simple to say it. Missing chances, not creating a ton. Their defense is not as strong as it has been in the past, as I think is always a question mark. And having to win by more than a goal at home doesn't sound like a lot to me. Sounds like way too much to me. Doesn't sound like that's a reasonable idea for what they should do. Certainly a better club, and one goal becomes two a lot sooner than zero becomes one. But I think Granada can hang here, and they've been working in some newer players, and I feel like they've been missing some chances, and maybe that's why they didn't beat or draw Madrid on the road, but that's hard to take demerits for that. Espanyol then hosting Barcelona in a big rivalry matchup. Espanyol getting 3/4 of a goal at home off of a pretty tough performance at Bilbao midweek at Athletic Club. Took an early lead, couldn't hold on, barely held on for a 2-1 loss to push the spread bet that I made. But Barcelona off a pretty good performance against Atleti. I just don't know that was really them as much as it was poor on Atleti. Barcelona brought in a lot of new players. Adama Traore had a great cross into the box for a goal. I think Espanyol are going to play really defensively and try to keep this as low scoring as possible. I am worried about Espanyol trying to score, though. Raul de Tomas should be back, RDT, after suspension from his last match at Bilbao. At 3/4, I'm interested. I'm hoping that the Barcelona money that always comes in will push it to 1. Moving to Monday, Mallorca hosting Athletic Club Bilbao. Mallorca, a quarter goal underdog at home. Got a big win last week, but was really fortunate. They haven't been playing well. Athletic Club are going to be in possession of the ball and trying to score that way. Mallorca got a big win, still in the relegation spat. they're the side I'd look at as a home underdog, though. I'm not sure that their crowd is great. I'm not sure really that I believe in them to score. And Athletic Club have been playing really well. So going to try not to fade them as much as possible. Moving to Italy for Serie A. This starts Saturday. Lazio hosting Bologna. Lazio, a 3-quarter goal favorite coming off midweek Coppa Italia. Bologna I think Lazio can score goals. I don't know that Bologna can. And so hanging within a goal seems unlikely for Bologna or for me to want to play. And doesn't look like that's going to get to 1. Napoli then hosting Inter, currently pick 'em. Inter off the Coppa Italia midweek victory. Napoli, they've been dealing with injuries, got a ridiculous late goal in like the 90 plus 10th, so 100th minute to screw Venezia bettors like myself last weekend. Still hurting over that one. Would love for Inter to be a dog because I don't believe in Napoli. I don't think that they're healthy. They're getting their bodies back, but I think that they're overrated right now based on where they have been and where they're rated here. But maybe if Napoli takes some money, I'll be interested in Inter. I just don't know that I want to play Napoli, even if they move to a home underdog against Inter Milan. Torino then hosting Venezia. Currently, Torino a 1-goal favorite with all the juice right now. And based on their inability to score, despite having a lot of the ball, a lot of chances, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Venezia is going to keep fighting as they try to stay in the league. Had a good performance. Are going to be missing one of their center backs, which is suspension, which hurts. And I guess the red card too is probably a wing back too or fullback. But getting one is too much. Of a goal of insurance is way too high. And it looks like it might even climb from here. Moving to Sunday, AC Milan hosting Sampdoria. AC Milan, a 1.25 goal favorite. Sampdoria is old, rotten. Not sure that they're scoring a lot of goals. And AC Milan have looked really good. Giroud was awesome last weekend. And then their attack was good in Coppa Italia this week as well. Samp, they're great at giving up late goals to lose. They brought in a new manager, got a good win last weekend. Maybe they can hang within a goal, but I'm not sure that I want to play it or make it anywhere close to my card because AC Milan, I think, are better and should be able to score, while Sampdoria, I'm not sure that they can. Empoli then hosting Cagliari, giving half of a goal, bigger than I expected. All the juice is on Cagliari right now. Maybe this falls to a quarter, but Cagliari have been playing a lot better in the last few weeks, months. Empoli's defense seems to be their struggle point. Had a goalless draw last weekend, which was surprising all around. But I think Cagliari are on the up and up, and Empoli are going to really have to fight to stay in the league. Though they've had a really great start, while Cagliari is the one that's like trying to save itself. So I think a little bit more desperation for Cagliari and the road underdog. I think Empoli probably sees a point as a good result to them, just not losing here. They'll ultimately at home want to get 3. I'm interested in Cagliari. Genoa then hosting Salernitana, giving half of a goal with all the juice. I think the new manager, there's always a new manager at Genoa, but the most recent one, I don't know his name, but they've been playing better under him. Salernitana did a lot of business at the end of the transfer window, have brought in a lot of players, including Simone Verde, who scored, I think, 2 goals off set pieces in the first half in their match on Monday. Pretty impressed by them, but ultimately got to see if they're within the same type of realm as Genoa, who have been playing well, but ultimately expecting Genoa to score goals is a big ask. And if this climbs above a half to 3/4, I'm going to be interested in Salernitana, and I'm going to hope to avoid the bottom team that's almost surely going to get relegated. Verona then hosting Udinese, giving half of a goal. Verona have not been playing well. Their attackers seem to be out of form, not fit, a lot of things. Their defense is questionable. And they just came off a match against Juve, which looked pretty lifeless offensively. And that's a concern. Udinese, on the other hand, have been not great this year either. Verona have been better, but Udinese are replaced their manager. They're trying to play more defense because they haven't done a very good job of that this season, while they brought in some offensive players and started to excel on that side. Problem is they sold Samir to Watford, and probably other players have moved on that don't come to mind right away. I just think based on how poorly Verona is playing, it's worth looking at a half a goal underdog against them. Sassuolo then hosting AS Roma, currently getting half of a goal at home with all the juice. Sassuolo has been playing so poorly. Had to play Coppa Italia midweek. Roma got to play earlier, so legs are rested, have to go on the road, but that's not a terrible thing for Roma, especially with the way travel is these days. I just don't know that based on how poorly Sassuolo have been playing, that they're a side that I can back. Atalanta then hosting Juve. Pick them right now with all the juice on Juve, and I think that's kind of respectful of Atalanta, who have no strikers really available to them. At least didn't start Muriel midweek in Coppa Italia and blew a 2-1 lead after falling behind 1-0 early, but ultimately were in position to win a match and ended up losing, getting knocked out of the Copa. They are in trouble. I think Musso, their goalkeeper, suspended. So I'm looking at Juve, if anything. I don't think that Atalanta will make my card. And Monday, Spezia hosting Fiorentina, getting half of a goal at home. Fiorentina with a pretty fortunate Coppa Italia advancement, whatever you call it, with a late goal from Milinkovic down to 10 men right off the bench, like last kick of the game. Literally, whistles were blown right after it went in and the goal was checked. Spezia, not great, want to play on the front foot, and it's going to give some opportunities to Fiorentina. But ultimately, Fiorentina just selling Vlahovic. I'm worried about their offense. Nico Gonzalez getting pissed about getting substituted. Just seems like he's a problem child. So leaning to Spezia as the home underdog on Monday Night Football. Moving into Bundesliga next, Leipzig hosting Cologne in just a few minutes. Leipzig, a 1.5 goal favorite, coming off a pretty good performance against Bayern, which might have even been a win in a perfect world. Cologne getting a goal and a half is interesting because they can hang with Leipzig for sure, but their offense, they want to play on the front foot. Their offense crosses into the box, which is not very efficient. And Leipzig have been scoring a ton of goals at home. So I think Cologne fall behind, and then the second goal is probably going to be tough. And I'm not sure that Cologne score. So I think I'm going to skip that one, though I can't blame anyone for playing Cologne because I don't think these teams are that different. Moving to Saturday, Borussia Mönchengladbach hosting Augsburg, currently giving 3/4 of a goal based on what? I don't understand. Augsburg, with a big win last week, played pretty well with a lot of, I think where they had success was pressure in the final third. I'm sure they'll do the same thing to Gladbach, maybe play defensively as well. But ultimately, I don't know where these Gladbach lines are coming from, but I will continue to bet against them. Frankfurt then hosting Wolfsburg. Frankfurt, a 1/4 goal favorite at home. Wolfsburg did some business in the transfer window, brought in some players that made an impact, but ultimately, like 3 of their 4 goals against bottom side fourth were big mistakes from fourth's goalkeeper, or were 2 big deflections. So I'm still not a believer that Wolfsburg have been solved. I don't know that I want to back Frankfurt as a 1/4 goal favorite, though, at home. Greater Fürth, speaking of 1/4 goal underdog at home to Hertha Berlin with all the juice. There's still a team that belongs in this fights the Liga, or maybe even lower. I don't know. Betting against Hertha Berlin as a favorite on the road is probably a reasonable idea, prudent maybe even. I just don't know that Fürth are a capable enough side to want to lose money on it back-to-back weeks for me specifically. Freiburg then hosting Mainz, giving a 1/4 of a goal with all the juice. Freiburg haven't been getting the results lately. I thought played pretty well against Cologne, but took a loss. And their defense has been still pretty solid, probably giving up a maximum of 1 a game. But Mainz are going to bring defense as well, and they're going to be really physical. And this feels like there's a decent chance at a 0-0, which is always great for an underdog. So I'm interested in Mainz, especially if they climb to half a goal. Bochum then hosting Bayern Munchen in like a derby, but they're kind of friends, which is weird. But Bayern 2-goal favorite on the road with most of the juice. I feel like that's almost a little lower than it should be. Should climb. Bochum are going to try to defend the whole time, but I don't know. I don't know if grit is really going to keep you in the match with Bayern. Leverkusen then hosting Stuttgart, giving 1.25 goals, and that's probably because of the embarrassing performance that they embarrassed Dortmund and killing them in the last match last weekend. Stuttgart can't really score goals, got 2 and still lost. They're in a relegation spot. I wonder about Pellegrino Matarazzo and if he's going to hang around. But Stuttgart can't hang with Leverkusen, I don't think. Moving to Sunday, Union Berlin hosting Dortmund, getting half of a goal at home. Union have been rated. They lost Friedrich to Gladbach. They lost Kruse to Wolfsburg, and they're losing a ton of players, selling off because they're really trying to stay in the league, though they're in pretty good position in the Champions League spot as late as Saturday night last weekend. Dortmund, we'll see about Haaland's availability. I wonder if they're saving him for Europa League, especially because that loss last weekend while Bayern won put the Bundesliga gap to 9 points, and that's almost insurmountable. But maybe not giving up on that yet. I'm sure probably playing as much as they can. I think Dortmund, coming off a pretty poor performance, should bounce back and should be pretty interested in playing well here. But Union, they're a great defense. They're going to make it tough on Dortmund, and they're going to probably score on a set piece. So it depends on how many Dortmund can score or if they suddenly miraculously know how to defend. But I can't imagine they're going to have to prove that to me. So leaning to Union, though, there's a little bit of trouble in camp right now, I think, for that team. Just trusting Urs Fischer to get his team up, especially after a tough performance against Augsburg. Hoffenheim then hosting Arminia Bielefeld, giving a full goal right now with all the juice. Hoffenheim are a great home team, really struggle on the road, score goals at home, and that makes it really tough to want to back a team that can't really score in Arminia Bielefeld. But Bielefeld have been playing a lot better and got an awesome goal from Johnny Serra last weekend. I do think that one of their better players, Wimmer, is suspended this weekend, so that's tough. But I'll be looking at the full goal of insurance for sure and trying to stay off of it because Hoffenheim do have goals in them. But Arminia Bielefeld know how to defend, and they know how to try to frustrate the other team. And I feel like their offense has done more this year than they've been given credit for, especially in the marketplace. Moving last but not least to France for Ligue. PSG hosting Rennes, currently a 1-goal favorite with eyes on Real Madrid in midweek. Rennes are one of the best teams in the league. Have been playing so well. Got a late goal to make a 1-0 victory into 2 in a derby last weekend to crush me. But of course, but I think Rennes can hang. PSG with a really good performance last weekend, lopsided victory at Lille. But a lot of that was Lille mistakes. Certainly PSG putting pressure on, but Lille big time mistakes by the goalkeeper, basically handing 2 goals on silver platters. I don't know that Rennes will avoid that per se, but I think that they are in a position to really attack PSG and have a very deep squad. So I like Rennes. Moving to Saturday, Montpellier hosting Lille. Currently, Montpellier getting a quarter of a goal at home with all the juice. Lille playing better and are going to want to bounce back from a really lopsided loss at the Parc des Princes. But Montpellier, they can score goals. And Lille, sometimes that's an issue for them, though I think that's been kind of ironed out as of late. I like the home dog, but I can kind of see where it is. And I'm hoping this one falls to pick them so I can not play it because I don't. And maybe that's why I should stay away because Lille are better. And Montpellier are probably going to have to try to hang around in this one. And that's not great as a very juiced home underdog of 1/4. Lyon hosting Nice, giving half of a goal. I think there are a lot of problems at Lyon still. Not a good performance last week, fell behind early to Monaco, and really didn't have much to show for their offense after they were rated as well, getting a lot of their players bought, sold, whatever. They brought in Favre from Reims or Brest, but started on the bench, and Dombele's there again. I don't know. Nice, great defense, really one that I want to back as much as I can. Especially when a draw wins a full bet. So that'll probably be on my card. Moving to Sunday, Monaco hosting Lorient. Monaco 1.25 goal favorite. Lorient with a big win last weekend. Monaco with a bigger win. I think Lorient probably bigger to stay in the league, but you understand what I'm saying because they won by more. At least Monaco did. Against a better side. Monaco, I don't believe that they can score goals still. They're going to have to keep proving that to me. They've done a better job of that of late, and I think Lorient's defense will probably concede plenty of chances, so I'm not sure I want to back the underdog. Clermont Foot giving a quarter of goal to Saint Etienne, who had a crazy comeback from 1-0 down to win 3-1 in like the last 10 minutes of the match. I lean to Saint Etienne trying to escape relegation threats after barely surviving last season. Clermont Foot with a big win last weekend at Nice was surprising, but they deserved it. They controlled the game. They played a lot better. I just don't know that I trust them to beat another Premier League side when they're favored. So I'm interested in the underdog, of course. Angers then hosting Strasbourg, getting a quarter of a goal at home with all the juice. Seems way too short based on what Angers did to cash in on players, selling their goalkeeper to Saint Etienne and basically putting in a rookie who has no clue what he's doing. And that's how they went from 2-0 up after 14 minutes to not even covering a +1 and losing 5-2 at Marseille on Friday. Nantes then hosting Reims, giving a quarter of a goal with most of the juice. Michelin and Reims, they've not been playing great as of late, but I still believe that they're a really good defense that can make it hard on Nantes, and I think they could win that match. Brest hosting Troyes, giving half of a goal. Troyes have been playing better. Brest are not the same as they were earlier in the season. Lost to Derby last weekend, got smacked by PSG, I think the weekend before that or whenever their last match was. So they had a really good win streak for a while. It hasn't been happening, and I think they're still a defensive club that has now sold some players, and so we'll see what ends up happening with them. But Troyes is where I'd lean right now because the draw wins a full bet. Lens then hosting Bordeaux, giving a goal and a quarter. Not playing great. All the juices on Bordeaux, by the way. But Lens not playing great, but Bordeaux is looking like they're in big trouble. They have all season, have been giving up a million goals, but and that makes anything getting more than a goal less interesting to me because they're probably going to be fighting from behind. Lens are going to be on the front foot, can score goals. Haven't been playing great, but this might be the team for them to get well against. And last but not least, Mets hosting Marseille, currently 3/4 goal underdogs at home with all the juice on Marseille that might climb to a full goal, which is a big number. But Marseille, if they put Milik in as a target man, as he did last weekend, delivered a hat trick, took the match ball home with him. That's a great idea. I don't think that Mets are going to do much to trouble the Marseille defense. So it's really about how much can Mets defend. And I don't know that I believe in them doing that for 90 minutes. So that's 30 minutes on the top 5 European leagues. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm the real_G Warner. Hit me on Twitter with any questions you got or in the comments wherever you are watching. Thanks a lot.